Hey guys, I'm in my 2019 E63 and I wanted to talk about track pace a little bit, how to get there and just some of the small functions it can do. So there's a couple different ways you can get to it. One is you can hit this button here, which will take you into the sub menu here that you can do track pace. Okay, that's one way you can get there. Let's just restart back to the radio, media, and you can also get the track pace by doing from the menu here. So you can go all the way down here to vehicle, and then of course it pulls up that same menu. But one of my favorite settings is I did it actually in my shortcuts so I can quickly get to it. So I just hit it down one time and it's actually my first one, as you can see there. So I just click onto it. Now track pace is a really good app. It does take a little bit of time to load, so it may just take a few seconds, but there it is, it's pulled up. And a couple things I like about track pace is that it's got a couple of different menus here. You got track race, drag race, telemetry, options, and back. I'm not going to go real deep in detail on everything, but I'm just going to show you a few things I've been able to do with it so far. I've had the car for about 2.5 months now, so I'm still new to a few things, but wanted to share a few things with you. So drag race, you can do acceleration, quarter mile, braking, and then of course history. Does show up this little sub menu here, but if you want to look at some of the things that it's recorded. Now the cool thing about it is this thing is pretty accurate. It also has worked pretty well with my draggy, so I've done some draggy runs along with this at the same time, and it is really close. The only thing that I see that this does is it does give that 1 foot rollout rule. So anyhow, that's the drag race section of it. You just hit back, and then you can go and pick between the two, well, excuse me, the three. But anyhow, track race, this is the real fun one. So these are some of the tracks that I've done. I actually have a couple made tracks. These are ones that I drew myself. These are some areas around my home that I have some fun with, and I recently broke a record with this one, and I can kind of show how I picked up with the car as well. So back on 9/25, it looks like I ran a 15.54. And then of course here just a day or two ago I ran a 14.73. That's how much I've actually improved with the car. Now let's go to some real tracks though, because, well, sorry, back into track pace. So let's go to some real tracks. Now as you see, the first one shown right here is AMP. That is actually Atlanta Motorsports Park, and you can see where it drew. I could not use the app to bring it in because the app is not available here in the United States, so I actually had to draw the map while on the track. And if you look at that drawing, that is dead on to what it is. It is very smart. Cool thing is I hit the start point, and then when I passed that start point again, it automatically knew what the entire track was. So if we can look at some of my times, it'll show the the profiles and what times I actually ran. There's a couple groups here. As you can see over here on the side, you see the numbers. That is how many laps in that session. So going to the first one here, you can see the times right here. And then let's go look at this one and see what it looks like, because it actually gives you some good telemetry of it. Now I have perimeter 1 set up as speed, and perimeter 2 is going to be my lateral G's. So I just really wanted to see how fast I was going at certain parts of the track, and then of course what kind of G load I was getting. So let's go take a look at that. So as you see where the cursor is on the car, that is the start line. We're going to go to turn 1, and it shows right there my speed. Let me just correct the camera a little bit. It shows my speed and it shows my G's. So as you can see, I kind of took that turn at about 31 miles an hour, and I had about 0.85 G's on the tire load. So moving on around, as you can see, the G's kind of taper off and the speed picks up. It's also noting your time as you go through. So we're going to cruise right on up here to the upper carousel. And as you see the graph over here as well. So on the graph here, you can see how it just moves up and down. The light colored green is going to be your lateral G, and the dark color is your speed. So if you quickly wanted to see what your peak was, the biggest one of all, you know, you would just go get on it right there. You can see on that particular turn I did 0.94 Gs. But anyhow, back to the carousel, you can see the speed entering the carousel, and then as you can see me kind of accelerating through the carousel, picking up speed, and just coming on down to turn 6, which turn 6 is a tricky one. It's one they call patience, but like I said, this is at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Anyhow, moving on, it just shows every single point of the track for that lap, and there is different things that you can put in, and let's see if we can just get back to that. So like perimeter 1, I can change it for any of these other perimeters. So if I want to see how much I'm on the gas pedal, how much I'm on the brake, steering angle, engine speed, gear, engine performance, torque, engine oil temp, transmission fluid temp, front left tire temp, front right tire temp. That was really funny because the front right tire did get really hot on this track because it is a right-hander. There's a lot of right-handers in this track, and these long carousels, it really eats up the tires. They generally say if you run this track 2 days in a row, you really need to swap your front tires over so they get even wear. But anyhow, it tells all the tire temps, all the tire pressures. It tells your consumption around the track, which I'm sure is probably interesting. Is probably very little. Drift angle, if the car does drift, it will tell you what the angle was on that drift. And that is something I need to go back, because actually I did have a little drift on turn number 6 when I cut the nannies off. So that would be interesting to go back and find out what that drift angle is. But anyhow, that's a little bit about the track pace. I really love it. Like I said, you can draw a track on the street anywhere you want. You can draw it in a parking lot. You can draw it at a racetrack. And you always have your times right in your car. But like I said, the easiest way I found to get to it was I actually put it in my shortcuts. And as you can see, it's right there. Then you can see a few other things I have in my shortcuts. I have octane radio station as number 2, seat massage, consumption, color, POVs, Mercedes apps. But it's one of the longer ones to go to throughout the menu if you do it the manual way. So I decided to put it as a shortcut and number 1. So anyhow, I might go more in depth on the track pace app a little later of how to settings and how to get to everything. But I just wanted to do a quick video because I've seen there's not a lot of videos about track pace for the E63s. This is a 2019, so just wanted to let you know. Thanks.